And on November 8th, Election Day, although they lost their jobs, although they've been foreclosed on by the bank, next came the divorce, and now the wife and kids are gone, the car's been repoed, they might be penniless, they might be homeless, they might be over and up, it doesn't matter. Because it's equalized on that day. They see that the elites who ruined their lives hate Trump. Corporate America hates Trump. Wall Street hates Trump. The career politicians hate Trump.
Michael Moore just turned Donald Trump's wildest weapon, his persona, against him live on air, with sharp analysis, jaw-dropping clips, and receipts that even the fake news line couldn't handle. Moore stripped away the flash to reveal cracks in Trump's foundation. Curious how Trump became the punchline of his own narrative. Keep watching to see where it all went wrong.
It's starting to feel, I don't know, I should say this, it's way too early to talk about 2028 yet. Everybody's thinking about what we're going to do next year. And to think about that we have somebody like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to be the voice of, we have two full generations now of millennials and Gen Zers, oligarchy versus democracy. And that introduced the idea of we need a whole new person, a kind of person in the White House that is going to fight for the people.
Before we move on, I will like you to subscribe to the channel and like the video. What's worse than being exposed on live TV? Being exposed with your own words. And boy, did Michael Moore make that sting. For years, Donald Trump has leaned on the persona of being larger than life, the self-made billionaire, the toughest negotiator, the guy no one could touch. His image was his shield, but Moore figured out how to turn it into a trap. Instead of fighting Trump on his terms, Moore let Trump's own words speak for themselves, and they didn't exactly scream stable genius. Take Trump's infamous fake news shtick, for example. It's his favorite line to discredit reporters and avoid accountability, but Moore flipped this trick on its head by using actual footage of Trump contradicting himself. In one clip, Trump bragged about owning the media, calling himself the ratings machine. But then a few years later, the same guy claimed the press was rigged against him. So which is it, Donnie? You're either the king of the spotlight or you're the victim of some grand conspiracy. Turns out being both doesn't add up.
Well, it's not a proud day for this country. How could it be a proud day when a man who was not elected by the people becomes president of the United States? How does that happen? The fact that twice in 16 years that the candidate who lost gets to walk into that house down the street, this has to change. I will not tolerate this happening one more time in my lifetime.
And Moore didn't stop there. He pulled out quotes about Trump's wealth and business acumen, showing the cracks in those too. Remember when Trump said he was worth $10 billion? Moore showed how financial records and repeated bankruptcy filings told a different story, a story where Trump owes more than he owns. Then there's the clip of Trump on TV calling himself a fantastic deal maker right before losing a huge casino project. The contradiction was almost too perfect, like Trump walking into his own punchline. Here's the clever part though. Moore didn't just attack Trump's words, he dug into why Trump uses them. As Moore explained, Trump is a master of misdirection. He knows how to say just enough to keep people talking while hiding the actual truth. But here's the twist. Those tactics might win news cycles, but they also reveal insecurity, the need for constant attention, the obsession with being seen as the best. These are the cracks Moore highlighted, and you could feel the discomfort ripple even among Trump's loyal fans. By the time Moore was done, all he had to do was sit back. No shouting, no over-the-top theatrics. The contradictions piled up until Trump's tough guy persona looked more like a cardboard cutout. Next, we'll talk about how Moore's ultimate demand was the final blow, and it hit Trump where it really hurts: his ego.
Tottenham 2, Chelsea 1. Who won that game? I'm just asking you factually. Who won that game?
In that case, Tottenham.
Tottenham won.
What are you going to do about it?
This makes no sense.
What are you going to do about it, Michael?
Well, what I and millions of others are doing, we are going to be active every single day. It's like, I don't know, how do you explain this to your viewers in the UK? You know, when whoever has the most points wins, right?
What's scarier for a narcissist than jail time? Being ignored. That's exactly the nightmare Michael Moore proposed for Donald Trump when he demanded his resignation. Now, this wasn't your typical call for accountability. Moore wasn't just talking about stepping aside. He was framing Trump's departure as the ultimate punishment, a sentence to irrelevance, where no one tunes in, retweets, or shouts his name at a rally. For someone like Trump, who thrives on attention the way plants need sunlight, that's the most devastating blow. It's no secret Trump's obsession with being the center of attention runs deeper than most. The late-night tweet storms about Saturday Night Live parodies, the countless angry jabs at comedians, the fixation on crowd sizes, all of it builds the case that Trump doesn't just want to win, he wants the world to watch him do it. So when Moore suggested a world where no one cared, that likely hit harder than any Mueller report or legal threat ever could. Imagine telling the guy who once bragged, "My Twitter is like owning the New York Times without the losses," that his words were now bouncing into a void. Painful. Moore, of course, knew exactly what he was doing. He wasn't just berating Trump, he was using public perception as a weapon. Trump's thin skin isn't a new revelation, it's been poked at endlessly. But Moore went further by showing how that insecurity could actually collapse Trump's entire persona. The strongman image starts to crumble when mockery turns into indifference. It's one thing to laugh at someone, it's a different kind of humiliation when people stop reacting at all.
People that by the millions stayed home on November 5th, and that cost us the election. There's more of us than there are of them. And yet millions stayed home. That's on the Democrats, and that has to change. You look at every poll on the issues, the majority of Americans agree with Bernie and me and AOC. We need people running for office as independents like Bernie does. He does just fine. Now, maybe in your state or your city, that's not the best thing to do.
And Moore didn't present this idea with anger. Instead, he leaned on facts, calm delivery, and just enough satire to punch through Trump's armor. He didn't need to shout. The mere suggestion of Trump becoming a has-been did the heavy lifting. By rewriting the narrative, painting Trump not as a powerful leader, but as a desperate attention seeker, Moore made irrelevance seem like the harshest form of justice. If power lives in perception, what happens when even your most loyal fans lose interest? Michael Moore didn't just dig up Trump's secrets. He tore down the entire facade. The man who built his identity on bravado, wealth, and supposed genius was left looking fragile, exposed by his very own words and actions.
Yes, on November 8th, you, Joe Blow, Steve Blow, Bob Blow, Billy Bob Blow, all the blows get to go and blow up the whole goddamn system, only to find out that if you vote to leave Europe, you actually have to leave Europe. And now they regret it. They want another election. It ain't gonna happen because you use the ballot as an anger management tool.
Moore's approach wasn't flashy, it was calculated, simple, and devastatingly effective. By turning Trump into a laughingstock, he unraveled the power of Trump's favorite weapon, the persona. If Moore's dismantling made even Trump's staunchest supporters uncomfortable, imagine the ripple effect as more people catch on. The emperor has no clothes, and now the world's pointing at the obvious. How does Trump survive that?